Hello, welcome to the lobby, GameSpot's weekly hangout every Tuesday at 2 p.m. Pacific, right here on GameSpot.com. I'm your host, Danny Dwyer, joined as ever by Mr. Christopher Waters.
Danny, hello.
I'm doing great.
That's a great t-shirt, man. I gotta say.
Thank you.
You're up in your t-shirt game a little bit.
Thank you.
And I appreciate it.
I got one more t-shirt, confirmed. It's cost me $25. It's more than the game will probably cost.
Small batch t-shirts are expensive to produce and then ship.
It's
Especially if you are
Giant
shipping
Bomb.
them outside of the U.S., as it turns out. Very difficult.
That's something you guys learned the hard way. Yeah. Jeff Gerstmann from GiantBomb.com.
Hello, hi.
And Andy Bauman's here.
Oh, what's up?
Andy, I want to talk to you about cars.
Yeah, I got a car.
Project cars.
Oh.
CD Project Cars.
Yeah, it's
Do you have a CD player in your car?
a 6-changer, baby.
Nice.
Do you really?
Yeah.
In the
That
trunk?
is decadent.
The only 2 CDs, Taylor Swift and Beastie Boys.
Real ends in the
good.
same
Okay.
spectrum there. It's
Yeah.
pretty good. Do you have a CD player in yours?
Yeah, mine actually play DVDs, but only when the car's in park, so it's useless.
Is there like a wire you can like cut?
Yes, yeah. There's a box you can install that, like, when you hit the button on the steering wheel, you can kind of toggle it to do it. I keep thinking about going that
You
route.
blow into it and it doesn't register the alcohol.
Yeah,
and
it's
the
like, okay,
movie
you're not
plays.
drunk, you can watch this DVD through in here.
Great. Those features that's one of the many features in Project Cars, a game that came out this week.
Watching DVDs?
It's not, unfortunately.
This week on consoles, last week on PC.
Yes, and that was for early access.
Unless you're
folks.
outside the U.S., and then I think it came out everywhere for everyone last week.
It's very confusing.
Yeah.
This is a confusing game. First Encounter Assault Recon. What does CAR stand for?
Whoa, fuck, I don't know.
You said it like 10 minutes before the show started.
Careening around racing spaces.
Cool-ass racing enthusiast.
Customized.
Community-assisted
Project
racer
Cares.
simulator.
There you go.
There it was.
You took the bait. How much Project Cars have you played, Jeff?
Not that much.
All right.
Not that much. We did a little bit of coverage on it. I messed with it a little bit more on the PC, and then I've got an Xbox One copy that I keep meaning to check out. I'm curious to see how it stacks up to Forza on Forza's platform.
Is that what you feel like it's like the biggest comparison to?
So, yes, but only in the sense that I am playing it with a gamepad.
Right.
I mean, obviously, it has support. You can go down the rabbit hole with this thing with, track IR support and all that sort of stuff if you're like a nut job, but don't buy a racing wheel. You've got a gamepad.
What about that gamepad racing wheel that Microsoft
the
released?
wireless, like the U-Force brought forward into
What is that?
like that nightmarish little boomerang. Yeah, I have one of those. It's dumb.
Of course you do.
Yeah. From my perspective, you can turn on the assists, turn off the assists. It's a similar. They're going for realism. I think they'll go more real than Forza in a lot of cases.
Oh, yeah.
If you want to go down that hole, but for me, the sweet spot is to make this a Forza-esque game.
Yeah, I wasn't sure because car games have become so granular in like what's real and what's arcadey. Like before, it was kind of like this is a simulation game and it's Gran Turismo, and then this is like
Now it's just like
Burnout.
can you launch things out of your car? Is it on fire most of the time? What's going on?
Or in terms of this one, it's like you can do stuff like you can check your fuel, like make sure you're taking a certain amount of fuel and
tire
change.
wear and pit strategies. Like this thing gets scary fast.
It kind of because this game's been around for a long time, and obviously it was this sort of crazy. It kind of felt like. I always say R Factor.
Well,
R Factor. Yeah, like it felt like this sort of community made. We're going to make the simulator for people who care about cars like this way, and it kind of does get that way. I'm playing with a steering wheel at the moment, so I'm having a completely different experience.
Right.
You're probably.
Totally. Yeah.
You're playing like I'm like racing Formula A cars around Spa, and like changing gears is like creating wheel spin, and it's making me like engage with it on that level.
Right.
Andy, you're playing on a controller. You're doing the video review at the moment. How are you enjoying it?
So, I'm like what you said about playing it comparatively to Forza. It's like, I think I wanted to see what it would be like on PS4 because I think there's a vacuum for this game.
Absolutely.
On
totally.
PS4, like completely, like Drive Club just dropped it. And
Yeah.
like, so this comes in, fills that nicely, but it is super race. It's like a race simulator, as the name suggests. Yeah, it's very racist. It's like
Didn't get that far.
yeah. So if you want to do a weekend at Sonoma Raceway, and have everything, have a practice round, have a
Second practice.
qualify, pull out of the pit, and then line up and do a race. And man, this game is perfect for that. But it's not necessarily about enjoying driving or enjoying cars. So
You saying it's not about car passion?
No, it's so not about car passion. It's funny. Here's my favorite game. It's like
the thing with Forza, I guess, is that it's been all about the unlocks. Like it's been about like unraveling this game and like
you buy cars and get new liveries and customize them. Like you put a whole nother engine in a car and then see what happens.
Like, like it's about structure in its progression and stuff, right? Because you think about Forza. It will serve up whatever you want. It'll like if you decide you want to take on another car, it's got stuff for that seems custom tailored for that. Whereas Project Cars is just kind of it's a toolbox, right? I mean, there's a progression to the career mode. You can get in there and kind of advance and get from one tier to the next. And,
but even in
sign
that,
on with teams, but it's not.
You can start.
Or you can just start at the top.
It's crazy. Like even in that, they're like it doesn't force you to go into karts.
Right.
You could just straight up like
I really like the karts. I started a career in karts, and I was frustrated for a second, but then I felt like the sense of speed was there where it wasn't in like the GT races, and it was a lot of fun to like get those down, and then switching back to like a Mustang GT race, I couldn't drive it. Like it felt like it was going 10 miles an hour, but I was going like 100, and I was just like all over the track. I couldn't get it under control. So it's like there's a huge learning curve with Project Cars.
And I guess that's my question with any sort of simulation like this that goes on such a deep dive and allows for such a rigorously tested and like this high skill ceiling. Learning it, getting past these difficulty markers, learning stuff. That's part of the satisfaction of playing the game. But once you top out and like you nail a race, like. Does it ever sort of ceiling, or is it like there's always new stuff to do, there's always new challenges to master, and there's always satisfaction to be found?
I think that's going to come from the player, and what you kind of bring to it. Because I think at some point, if you're engaging with this to the fullest, at some point you have to start asking yourself, why am I not playing iRacing? Right. Why am I not going all the way? And iRacing I don't think is as pretty as Project Cars, but like iRacing is for lunatics. And that stuff is out there if you want to go all the way with it. And Project Cars I don't think goes quite that far, but I think it has a wide range of play styles that it can support.
Yeah.
So if you do want to have that gamepad experience, I think it's a totally viable console game. I haven't actually seen it on consoles. Is the performance good there?
I haven't seen it on console. Okay, I've been playing PC.
Yeah, PC like it looks
really
awesome.
Good. Yeah.
It's a fantastic looking game, but. Yeah, totally. Like that's the PS4 thing is especially apt because who cares about drive close?
Yeah, exactly. I think what you're saying, Chris, like it is really deep. So like you can spend all your time learning one car, right? Yeah. And then you race it, and then there's like a lot of tracks. You have to know the tracks. So then you have to learn the tracks, and then it's like, okay, then you can start tuning the car. You like want to switch your tire pressure a little bit, switch the ride height a little bit. You're like, oh, that one corner gives me trouble. I got to stabilize my car. Stiffen it out, get around there. And then you can even go so far into like, okay, I need less fuel for this race, so at the end of the race I'll be lighter than the guy next to me, so we're neck and neck and I pull ahead. It's like, that's so crazy.
And it's all that stuff is open as well, so it's not
you
like
can just do it if you want.
The thing I didn't like, I guess, with Forza games, or especially with Horizon, I guess, and maybe that's not a fair comparison, is that you're unlocking everything. And what I'd always liked about, say, I played a lot of the F1 games, and I just like going in, picking a combination of stuff that I'm into, and just like spending 2 hours playing that.
Yeah.
So like this seems like really well structured for that. So,
yeah, I mean Horizon's like a different kind of game. I mean that's at that point that might as well be Need for Speed or something.
Yeah.
It's
so
different.
Good.
Oh yeah, no, it's
so much better than Need for Speed. Hold on.
I don't know. Horizon 2, the European stuff, I thought was not as cool as Horizon.
Like your hatred of Europe is well storied, Jeff.
Yeah, no, totally.
Have any of you guys played online?
Well, we did.
I tried a little bit. And,
does that count?
It was a game that had like forced cockpit view,
Great.
no assistance, any of that other stuff. So it's like
3 practice sessions,
just like,
hit the gas, spin out, just torque out, go, crap. And then I quit the online session shortly after that.
Apparently, the online is where, I guess that's kind of where the iRacing stuff comes in as well. Like that's where the real competitive nature is.
Sure, yeah.
Because the AI in this kind of seems real dumb in a way that I kind of appreciate, because battling the car seems to be where the difficulty's at.
Sure.
And then like I almost like get a satisfaction from just racing kind of dumb AI. Like I've been playing it up to like 80 of 100.
That's pretty high.
To the point where like I'll spin out, but then I'll know I'll actually probably catch up with them again. It's not like because there's no replays.
Right. Yeah.
So you're back to
rewinds, man.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a game for a very specific type of person, I think. As much as you can adjust it to be more Forza-like and even maybe a little bit easier than Forza can get. But yeah, it is still kind of unforgiving in some ways. That I think on consoles where people are used to things like Rewind and like Need for Speed games and stuff like that, they might just look at this and go like, this is too much for me. But yeah, it's cool.
Quick look up on Giant Bomb.
Yeah,
cool. And the review will be up on GameSpot. If it's not up.
Well,
Now it'll be up in the next.
Is probably going live any minute.
Pretty soon.
Because we're behind on this one, but we'll do a video review today.
Yeah, should be up today or tomorrow.
Yeah.
Rad, awesome. Jeff, while we have you here, Witcher 3, we're going to have Kevin on later. Got a 10 out of 10 on GameSpot.
I did, yeah.
We were talking last week. You had some technical.
Well, yeah. So I kind of, I kind of got excited about The Witcher all over again when you came back with all that footage of it, and I looked at it and said like, oh, this looks awesome and like super accessible and all this other stuff. Like, everyone coming out of those last 2 years of E3. Seeing the game there was always super hyped on it, and I always thought like, well, I never really got into The Witcher 2. We'll see. And then I saw that and said like, oh no, it looks like they're making the right choices here. Like they're streamlining combat. You could block right out of the box. Crazy. But yeah, man, like it crashed on me twice in the first hour, and like during the Gwent tutorial. So it's a weird situation where like they sent out PS4 discs that already had the day one patch baked in, and it was one of those things where it's like, I don't know if I trust this version of the game to be reviewable. So kind of once it crashed on me a couple times, I sort of just backed away and went like, all right, maybe I'll play more of The Witcher, but I'm waiting until I get the real thing, because this thing doesn't seem like it's like legit for review purposes, but it just sort of, I don't know. It got a little weird, but also, I'm not sure that it's for me. There was just some stuff about the movement that
combat and stuff.
It feels janky.
Yeah.
Some parts of that game, just like character rotation, like I found myself getting hung up walking indoors and stuff, where it's like just the movement on the controller. Like I kind of want to see it with a mouse and keyboard and kind of see what the PC version's all about. And they didn't have that one ready. They for whatever reason only had PS4, which is crazy when you think about it. But yeah, so I don't know. Like it just kind of rubbed me the wrong way. For a variety of reasons. But like I only really played a little bit of it.
Cool. Are you guys gonna do a quick look then next week? When
so
it comes out,
so they had weird video restrictions in terms of what they would allow now versus release day, and our East Coast office is where the witching happens.
Right.
So,
of course.
So we're gonna get them a copy of the PC version or something like that as soon as we can, and have them take a look at that.
Cool. Awesome. We're going to be back soon with Kevin VanOrd to talk about The Witcher. First of all, we're going to get Alexa on with Kevin to talk about all that Assassin's Creed news that dropped this morning. But first of all, here's a trailer for Attack on Titan, presumably a video game. There's a new Assassin's Creed game coming out. Woo! Apparently it's about Syndicate. What's the story, guys? You guys had a crazy live stream this morning.
Yeah, we did.
Assassin's Creed, Syndicate. They renamed it. It's in London. It's 1868, which I can remember because you just swap the order 1886 and the last two digits and you're done. Tell us everything you guys know about what Ubisoft announced this morning.
So I actually went to Canada to see it last week.
Canada?
And yeah.
Tetsuo.
And it's very different. They redid stealth. So now it's not cover-based. You're not sneaking in bushes. You're not blending into crowds. You're just out there doing more modern stealth. You're crouching, using darts, whistling, distracting people. They redid, well, they didn't redo combat, but they changed combat. It's now close quarters focused because you're in London and you're in gang fights, so you want to get your enemy super up close and punch them out and stuff. And it's just generally very different from, I think, what we've seen so far in the past couple of years.
I have a question about the stealth real quick.
Yes.
So is it like, you know how in Assassin's Creed you hold down the trigger and then you're in like free run parkour mode where you just jump over anything that happens to be in your way? In the stealth, is it a similar where you're like, you're in stealth mode and so you'll crouch into anything that you happen to pass? Like, is it a state that you kind of trigger, or do you still have to like maneuver yourself into stealthy positions?
You can maneuver yourself into stealth in that, and let me know if this is answering your question. Instead of like having a hard snap onto cover, like you're walking and you're like, I walk into a bush and I'm in stealth and that's done.
Okay.
You'll be pressing a button to crouch down and sneak or stand up and run away.
Okay.
So it's less focused on I'm going into things and I automatically go into stealth. You put yourself into stealth.
He's also got a
okay.
sick rope.
Rope launcher.
So this
I
is
love
their
it.
answer to people are getting increasingly bored of climbing up buildings.
It's very
Before
Batman.
it was you can go faster. Now it's yo, just shoot a rope and you're up there, no problem.
Yeah, no, it's very Batman. I like it because, like where he was just standing, you can shoot that to anywhere else on the building in front of you, and you can zip line across or tightrope your way across, and it turns all of the airspace in London into aerial assassination territory.
Right.
So you could sneak in, shoot down, kill someone, and then turn around, throw your rope launcher up a building, and just zip right out of there, which is pretty cool.
So in the hands-off demo that you had, did they give any sort of inclination as to like the scale of London? They said it's like 7 different boroughs or something.
It's 7 boroughs. It's very big. We were running around sort of this same area, which it took a while to get from one end where we were to where the gang fight was that we wanted to end up. So it seems pretty big. Pretty big.
Did it feel big?
It felt big.
You're running around in carriages. They've gone like Grand Theft Auto
Yes,
style.
those carriages make the world feel big. I know you saw in the demo they had them crashing and careening off each other, and like the cart takes damage and people react. Like as you're riding, you can see the people as you're approaching just being like, oh my god, like there's something going on here. You can actually fight on top of them. Like if you climb on one that's moving, you can stand on top of it and then jump on to another one and fight someone on it.
Look at that lady.
It's awesome.
The amount of collateral damage happening here is just frankly outrageous.
And as
It's
we
very
all
GTA.
know, horses knock over lamps
Oh, yeah.
when they run
Time.
into them. Street lamps are no obstacle
Boom.
for the,
Look at that guy.
the hard
Oh.
head of a horse.
Well, they bred them differently back then.
Yeah,
Kevin. You know,
exactly.
they bred the huge battle ones for the destriers for fighting, and then they built the iron-headed
still
ones
happens.
for urban
I lived
destruction.
there for a number of years. This stuff happens all the time.
Whole municipal departments devoted
Oh
to,
yeah, to
cleaning
cleaning up horse corpses.
This-
Let's get into the
This is
sort
what
of
happens when you let
granularity
Boris
a
be
little
in
bit.
charge, I guess.
Let's get into the granularity a little bit. Multiplayer,
Multiplayer, nope.
gone.
Nope, they told me they want to focus on they being Ubisoft Quebec, told me they want to focus on that single player experience. And the thing with the systemic vehicles and the way that they have the AI reacting and the way that they would want you to be able to use those vehicles anytime, anywhere, having that married to the fidelity of your online connection, they didn't it would have been too hard, it would have been a
Also-
little weird, so they just nixed it.
Yeah. Also,
Yep.
did anyone here on the couch enjoy Assassin's Creed multiplayer ever?
Yes.
You liked it?
No.
Not, I mean, are you kidding? Like that was actually pretty special when it was first introduced in Brotherhood. So the competitive play, I actually felt, it's very similar if you've played The Ship on Steam or something
Right.
like that. Like it actually was very interesting. It was like, and it actually had a really big fan base too. People that really liked that, and I was one of those people. Like, you know, it was slow, it was steady. And then there were these moments where everything just exploded, and then it was slow and steady and tense. And so it was very different. If you wanted like a bunch of action, it really wasn't quite what
I
you
agree.
wanted.
I thought it was really cool, but it's also like holds up way worse than even the single player campaigns do to yearly iteration. Like,
Right.
Yeah,
you know, the
totally.
same multiplayer mode over and over again, just in a new city, is not going to feel substantially different, whereas a single player campaign
I
can.
mean, they tried. They introduced
Yeah.
new modes and stuff over time, and I don't know, like talking about yearly multiplayer. Like I don't know if Call of Duty manages this somehow. So
True enough.
Just
you
about.
know, maybe it's okay with Assassin's Creed. But I'm actually glad. I mean, it wasn't what people went to Assassin's Creed for. So you know, focus on it.
Totally.
You know, do your thing.
Animus stuff.
They said yes, but they're not talking about it yet.
Great.
That's always the way.
There's
Yeah.
not going to be
They're
anime
not-
stuff
they're
in an
not talking
Assassin's
about
Creed
it
game.
yet.
Of course there is.
There will be some sort of modern-y thing happening.
They've done some interesting
So,
stuff
yeah.
with anime
They
stuff.
always
I
wait.
guess.
It's a growing narrative. It'll be there.
Oh, I just feel like it's being weighed down by so much. Like I feel like this series is just like part of this one. When I saw the trailer, was like, oh, Templars in London, yeah. Like, why does this have to be about Templars and Assassins? Why do we have to keep shoehorning all this stuff into every friggin' like piece of history? It just I don't
My
know.
question is, why do we have to keep shoehorning a major Assassin's Creed release into every
year?
fall? I don't know. It just like, I don't know.
Burn
Had to be said. Had to be the
units.
curmudgeon.
To come to Ubisoft's defense, the studio working on Syndicate is Quebec. Typically,
Assassin's Creed Syndicate.
Assassin's Creed. Yeah, that's right. We can't just call it Assassin's Creed
Yeah.
Syndicate is being worked on in Quebec. Typically, the games are helmed by the Montreal studio.
Yes.
Quebec studio has been working on this game for almost 3 years. It could have come out next year. It could have come out last year. It's just sort of how things fell out. I honestly think giving it to the new studio. They've worked on Assassin's Creeds before. They did Brotherhood. They did the Freedom Cry DLC. They did the Tyranny of King Washington DLC for Assassin's Creed 3.
Yeah.
I think that giving the direction to a new studio, I think will add a little bit of freshness to the series.
So
I'm
one
optimistic.
of the pieces of freshness is that there are only 2 playable characters.
Yes, there are.
So explain this. This is a sibling situation we're talking about.
They're twins,
Okay.
Jacob and Evie Fry, born outside of London. So when they come to London, you as the
Brighton.
player experience London for the first time alongside them.
Great.
Evie is the first playable female assassin in a main game that isn't a spin-off. We had Assassin's Creed 3 Liberation.
Yeah, that was great.
Where we had, that was great. Where we had Aveline, but it came out on Vita, and the Vita at the time was not doing so hot.
That's true.
They did remaster it for console, and then we have Assassin's Creed Chronicles China, which came out recently, which has Xiao Jun. However, she is our first big main line Assassin's Creed playable female character.
I didn't even realize because they put out a trailer for, is it Jacob?
Jacob.
His name? Yeah, they put out a trailer for him showing him beating 7
Yeah,
shades out of
badass.
people.
I've been told that we'll see more of her later this year. She'll be getting her own sort of push. Also in Syndicate, you have a lot of female enemies. Like I noticed if you're running through the streets and you're targeting people or you're on a mission, a lot of the regular Joes that you encounter are regular Janes. You have a lot of women that you have to either kill to get through or turn on each other or sort of mow down, I guess. This is Bloody Nora.
I can't believe they called somebody Bloody Nora.
Yep, Bloody
They're turning
Nora.
Cockney rhyming slang into actual people.
What does that
Nora.
stand
Yeah,
for?
what does it stand
What does that
for?
mean?
Bloody Nora?
Yeah.
It's just like an expletive to like oh Bloody Nora.
Oh,
Like,
it is. Okay.
God damn it.
Because
no way.
I thought Nora would probably. I thought it would actually
Look,
be.
there's another one.
You
I
know.
think
Girl.
it's a misnomer that it actually is anyone. Because
Oh, okay.
because
Because most Cockney rhyming slang is just like this actually means something else. It's
Yeah.
just there's a couple steps.
I don't know
to-
how
to
it got
connect
to
them.
that, but yeah.
Yeah, I'd be curious.
I like it though.
Thank
I
you
like
for letting me derail.
No worries.
I like that you're not just it's not you as a guy and everyone you're going against is a guy. The thing about 1868 London, Victorian London, Industrial Revolution London is a lot of women didn't have jobs, they couldn't vote, they couldn't do much of anything. So a lot of them turned to organized crime. They found their place in the seedy underbelly of London. So you have these women crime lords with these hordes of people that are doing their bidding, and then you have the other women falling in with them. So I really like that they're not shying away from the whole, violence against people in video games and women in video games
Yes.
has been a thing, but I like that this game is not shying away from it because it's true to history and it's true to life.
And they've been criticized of shying away from it in the past, especially
yeah.
we saw with Unity as well.
I'm very
Underbelly.
glad to see that.
Yeah. Any other footnotes on Assassin's Creed Syndicate? Anything we didn't talk about today?
Excellent footnotes. They're already talking about the historical characters we'll see. We already have Charles Dickens.
Great.
And Charles Darwin.
Gotta kill me some Dickens. Darwin as well?
Darwin.
Yeah.
Darwin as well. And they say that there's going to be a lot more because they're bringing Assassin's Creed to technically the modern era by bringing it into the Industrial Revolution. So we're going to see a lot of stuff that is more relevant to us today than we would find in the Renaissance.
And more guns, presumably.
Yes.
We saw
Revolvers.
in that scene with the siblings, like a girl come and inform them. She was like giving them the little info. I hope one of your side activities is recruit gang of orphans to steal money to help you and also get secrets to help you out.
Well, I mean, you have Charles Dickens who, in Oliver
That's
stuff,
what I'm talking
will
about.
Yeah.
Give
The
me,
Oliver
Hey,
mission.
that's weird. You get Charles Dickens to become Shylock to then collect art, becoming that's a weird. Minigame, maybe.
I would totally
Perhaps.
play that.
They
was
rip out
almost
that
a
tower
given.
defense stuff and they'll put in this orphan gang
gang.
management simulator.
Orphan husbandry.
It was
like
almost a given, though, right? I mean, if Dickens is in the game, we're gonna have little orphans,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just thought it was refreshing to see a child character that didn't look like some weird, short, deformed adult.
Can you kill them?
So
Oh, I don't know.
When
I
are we
mean,
getting
gonna
the
get-
first
'cause that's-
playable child protagonist in the Assassin's Creed series?
First killable
It's not enough
child.
for you. Nothing is enough for
No,
you,
I
Chris
want
Waters.
more.
Nothing
First
is enough for
playable
you.
child protagonist. No. You
No,
have to play
definitely
Lucifer
not.
if you want to get down. Go down
Assassin's
that
Creed
road.
Nursery.
That's disgusting. Before you guys
Creed
go,
babies.
we got, there was another piece of news this
imagine
morning.
Assassin's Creed babies.
I am right now.
you
It's
make it-
wonderful.
No, that's.
Do you make Imagine Babies anymore in those Imagine games?
Babies killing other
I'm
babies.
thinking like Muppet Babies style.
Oh,
Yeah.
The hell happened to this show?
Sorry,
What's
guys.
going on?
Before you
It's too
guys
delightful.
go,
to the sorry.
see, he won't let me just actually say it so we can cut this bar out. He keeps
Let's
talking
cut.
over me.
Let's cut.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, sorry.
Before you guys go, The Division, shock horror, the latest game to be delayed until 2016. You guys at all surprised
No.
of that?
Nope.
No, I mean we haven't really seen what that game is. We don't know what it is. Last year, not even last year, 2 E3s ago, they showed us people on mobile with tablets can come in and do like drone strike support.
Yeah.
Where did that go? We haven't seen it since then.
Last year's E3 showing was great. They showed
was.
that really cool trailer and the dude with the flamethrowers. They showed another sort of playable, I guess, instance of it and gave us some more details about maybe how that sort of world will work. It always seemed like a game that wasn't coming out this year, but I feel like you can never tell anymore because like Assassin's Creed, now we've seen Syndicate, it's out in October. There are all these rumors about Fallout 4 being at E3 and then some people are saying, hey, we
Rumors.
might,
Maybe it'll come out this year.
maybe it'll come out this year.
I've
so
heard
like,
that too.
We could see Watch Dogs 2 before we see The Division.
yeah, I've heard Watch Dogs 2 might be taking place in this old fair city as well.
Oh,
There's-
jeez.
Yeah, rumors flying
In
a band.
SF, huh?
Well,
But here we have The Division slipping into next year. Do you think that's a good call? Like in the past, Ubisoft have been criticized for having games come out a little bit early, a little bit buggy, a little bit rough. They have Assassin's Creed coming out in October. Do you think this competes with that?
see, you want to go first?
No, I was just going to say I think it's smart because we all remember what happened with Watch Dogs. You have a PR campaign, right? The PR campaign is meant to build up hype and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
they had obviously built to a certain release date, and then what happens is, it just, the wad is blown, the hype is done, and then suddenly, it's like whatever, Watch Dogs. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? And so then they have. I think it's smart. This is not just good for game development, but it's also good for game PR.
So you're saying
honestly.
it is PR companies are too quick to blow their wads when it comes to talking about new games coming out. Is that a new IP problem? Do you think?
Wad
Because
blowing?
like for instance, if Fallout, when Fallout 4,
Sorry to be gross about
like
it all.
Fallout can be announced and they can make it come out in 4 months because it's Fallout.
Yeah.
So do you think this is like Watch Dogs? They had to obviously like plant that seed. The Division, they kind of have to do the same thing. They have to plant that seed. Do you think this is just like an awful byproduct of like PR trying to hype up like new IP specifically, like announcing it years before it even comes out?
Well, I think Watch Dogs essentially either became bigger than what they initially thought, or they realized that they were too big and they had to scale down. Look at the
Yeah.
Wii U version. It came out 6 months after everything else came
Yeah.
out. Ubisoft, though, has demonstrated that it is, among all of the publishers, seems to be the most open about, yep, no, we're going to delay it because we don't think it's ready. They have been the most open and the most willing to do that.
And they were even apologetic about Assassin's Creed Unity at the start of this
yeah.
morning's presentation.
They were real. They seemed genuinely remorseful about it. I mean, Assassin's Creed needs to come out. They have one coming out every year because that is their annual series.
Yeah.
Watch Dogs got delayed twice. Stick of Truth got delayed 3 times.
Wow.
Division is on its second delay. I honestly am not surprised, and I think if Ubisoft feels that that game is not ready, I'm going to take their word on it because they've done it before.
Cool. Well, maybe this time next year we'll be talking about The Division with a bit more detail. But for now, thank you very much, guys, for coming on and talking about Assassin's Creed Syndicate.
Yay.
That's already a video game.
That's why they told us don't just call it Syndicate. You have to call it Assassin's Creed Syndicate.
Syndicate is already a couple of video games.
That's true.
Yeah.
They remade that as well.
Oh yeah.
Is this a good time to say the co-op in that game was great?
It was
Or
so
Syndicate?
good.
Yeah.
Let's talk
Yeah.
about Syndicate.
Sorry, I don't want to distract
Get into
things
it.
again.
Kind
Syndicate
of ironic
Wars
that
was
they
the best
cut they went away from co-op in Assassin's Creed, but took the name of Syndicate, which had great co-op.
Yeah.
Apparently in the first Syndicate there was a bit where there was a lady pushing a pram or a buggy.
A buggy.
Sorry. And when you shot her, it rolled out and a car drove over it. and
Oh, no,
the
it's like the
BBFC made them
Untouchables.
take it out.
What the
Oh
shit?
no.
Oh, it's like that film, Battleship Potemkin.
What?
That
It's
old
like the
film.
film Battleship
What?
Potemkin.
Did you make that up?
There is an
Wow.
iconic
That is
scene
really-
in that
That is an
movie
old
that
movie.
is a baby carriage. It's like it's like the
really off.
steps of a building being shelled during war, and the baby carriage just like goes down. It's just like run away down steps while carnage is happening in the
Got your
background.
I
Charles
thought that was
Dickens.
the Untouchables that did that.
Bro, get your
got-
film
he-
history right.
He's got his Charles
I might be
Dickens
wrong- I might be quoting it
orphan
wrongly. It's
video
old.
game thing.
Charles
Got your
Dickens.
Battleship Potemkin.
There were
Yeah.
explosions in Oliver, weren't there?
problems.
The
In
kid- the
Oliver,
kids had
in Oliver
revolvers?
and Company.
I mean, I'm old, so I don't know. I just remember Kevin
Oliver.
Costner saving the baby buggy going down the steps.
Sure.
But it could be.
But there was no baby in it, right?
I'm old. Well,
Wasn't that the
not
thing?
on the set.
No, I'm just talking
Not
about.
a
Wasn't that
living
thing?
baby.
There is a baby in it in the scene. Yes, supposedly. Otherwise, why is he rescuing the carriage? Is it made of diamonds, Chris Waters?
I don't.
This is my favorite breakout of this week's show.
Because he thinks that there's a baby in
5
it, but
minutes
it's
of
really
baby
a
chat.
distraction,
Sorry.
right? That's a thing.
Sorry.
You got any baby B-roll back there, Ty Root? He's like frantically smashing the keyboard.
Find
Battleship Potemkin.
find Potemkin on
Babies.
YouTube.
We need that B. All right, we're gonna
Do it.
Ty's gonna
Justify
look
my
that up.
intro to film studies class in college.
We might have it at the end of the show if Ty finds it.
That would be awesome.
In the meantime, Kevin, we got a bunch of questions for you from readers of your review of
Yeah.
The Witcher 3. We'll be back in a second. Alexa, Ray Corriea, thank you very much for coming on.
Yep.
We're going to talk about Devil May 4. Almost had it.
Nailed it.
Nothing but rim. Devil May Cry 4 Special Edition. That's Special Edition of DMC4 you've been looking forward to. Here, stop, Kevin. Here's the show.
This is what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Boom!
Oh my god, this is great.
Are they firing at a baby?
Oh, they shot the lady.
Oh,
no.
no.
Yep.
Oh,
Yep.
no.
No, wait, she's
No.
not dead yet. Wait.
Man, this Devil May Cry 4 trailer is
Wait,
real
it's
fucked up.
Assassin's Creed.
Symbolism.
Assassin's Creed
Is it-
Swan.
Yeah, what's
Oh my god.
Yep.
God damn it. How much of this
This
can we
is-
play
this
before
is
Twitch take
nothing-
us off the air?
Like the Untouchables
Oh
scene.
god, she's just bleeding. I
Oh,
can't
no.
notice because it's black and white.
She's dying.
She's got blood.
Just like.
Yeah, that's right. He's got the whole movie
Oh my
there.
god. Oh my
Go,
god.
baby, go.
That's a real baby.
That's a real baby.
That's a real. Oh,
Oh my god, no. I can't know. I can't watch babies get hurt. In
What
films.
happens to the
Babies
baby?
and dogs.
Stay tuned to the lobby.
No!
No!
God,
Oh.
kill it! It's a real baby.
Oh, the pathos.
Oh!
No!
I bet people.
No!
I love the
No!
guy.
Holy crap! Holy crap!
I bet people when they watched this first were freaking out.
Oh my god,
They
please
totally
no.
were. There it goes.
With the babies.
Man,
It's
this.
still going. Look at all
I
those
can't
dead
wait
people.
to play this new Assassin's Creed.
Oh god.
Ty, for after the break, can you find the Untouchables scene
Someone
so that
please
people
save
don't
the
think
baby.
I'm crazy?
They're all saving themselves. Except for this guy sees the
at
baby,
that guy.
maybe. I don't know.
I thought that-
Baby's got some sick moves.
There it is. There it is. See, I totally didn't make it up.
Where?
Oh! Whoa.
Dow.
This is pretty good.
Baby.
That's not a. Where's the? Oh no.
That's not really a baby.
Oh no.
That child
It's
should be walking.
baby enough.
That is a toddler.
That child could probably wield his own weapon. Eat it. This is like some Matrix 1
There it goes.
nonsense. The walls are made of. Ooh.
I love this movie, even though it's not good.
If you don't think this is an homage to that scene, you are
It's
dreaming.
totally
Yeah.
an homage.
Oh god, look
Except
at
she's
it.
alive.
They should have shot this scene in black and white.
I mean, it's really a classic. It's
can
really
just-
it's a classic scenario. The runaway baby carriage.
Shooting up.
Come on, gangster.
It's like a grenade launcher he's firing. It's just firing stones.
I love it when dudes like that guy had just two
I love
mismatched
how
pistols.
long it takes for the carriage
so
to get
good.
down there. How long does it take?
Oh no.
I'm coming for your kid.
They're clearly like it's
I'm
holding
sorry,
a baby
but that
toy
baby's
above
dead.
the camera.
Baby's not dead yet.
Oh, he shot that baby.
That baby did.
Oh, don't shoot that baby.
Oh my goodness.
There's a
There's
fucking
a sailor.
just
Where
hanging
did the
out.
sailors come from?
Look at this.
Why? Oh baby. Is he trying to shoot
That
the
kid-
baby?
no, that kid is-
No, the baby's just collateral damage.
Wow, that sailor took a bullet for a baby.
Don't shoot my cigarillo.
I love how bad this is. Like they're actually going to be smoking a cigarette during this. Here.
Oh,
I'm gonna
what
tell
happened?
you- What happened to the baby?
Yeah, what?
Oh,
Oh!
you saved the day, actor who is not Kevin Costner, whose name I can't remember.
Andy
Garcia.
Garcia, thank you, Arte.
But is the cigarette safe? That's what we really need to know.
Yeah.
That was fun. I'm not at all terrified by all
Look, we've
those
talked
gunshot
about.
noises.
Is the other thing ready?
That movie's so not
turning
good,
into a-
Ghanaian.
but I love it.
Ghanaian Devil May Cry.
There's a Ghanaian Devil May Cry movie.
I don't know
If
what
you
you're
type
talking
in
about. Is that like
Ghanaian-
Italian Spider-Man?
Kind of, except that's like intentional, whereas this is like some weird, like, African B movie from
That
Ghana.
sounds good.
I discovered
Well,
Turkish
maybe
Star
we'll get it at
Wars
the end
not
of the
too
show.
long ago.
Turkish
You should
Star
totally look
Wars?
up Turkish Star Wars.
All
It's a
right.
whole, like,
Yeah.
But don't,
Safe
sorry,
search
we're actually going
off.
to talk about video games for a little bit before we
Turkish
continue.
Princess
What video
Leia.
game are we going to talk about?
Oh, here we go. It's Devil May Cry.
Wait a minute.
It's Devil May Cry.
What the hell is going on?
Someone's getting told off.
This
What
is
the heck is this?
Oh, he just dunked on that dude's head.
It's like Ghanaian Devil May Cry movie.
Is that the devil?
Yeah, look, he's like.
It does
oh,
say Devil
shit.
May Cry.
It has an interface.
Look at him. He's going to fuck you up.
Bon Sambo.
Oh my god.
Oh man. Oh, it also comes with the Killer 1 and 2. It's a like a triple box set of great movies.
Oh my god.
And amazing CG.
Damn.
Whoa.
Oh, wow.
I'll
These
give him
people are
credit
getting
for that
mauled by a crazy
transformation. There was
lion.
actually a little bit of thought put into that.
This is actually Andy.
Whoa, you got the slap. Ooh.
Oh,
Now it's inside?
there you go. This is actually Andy Bauman's sizzle reel for where he got the job at GameSpot.
I mean, you can't not hire someone who puts this together.
Oh. Whoa,
That-
Birdemic looks like a CGI classic
That
now.
was brutal.
Do you want to talk about video games?
Okay.
Okay. Gentlemen, a couple of weeks ago, wait, camera changed. A couple of weeks ago, we talked about, sorry, wasn't a couple of weeks ago. A couple of months ago, the lower third's gone. A couple of months ago, we talked about Bayonetta 2 being 10 out of 10. Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember that?
Totes, yeah.
We just got our
I'm sorry.
9th 10 out of 10. Kevin VanOrd, The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt.
Hoo-wee.
10 out of 10.
Hot
I've been
diggity.
waiting for this moment.
We have a bunch of questions from people who have who've sent them in asking specifics
Sure.
that were either mentioned in your review or not. Chris
try to-
Waters, well prepared.
I'll try to stay on topic.
Before we get to the granularity, let us know what you think about The Witcher 3 in terms of the broad strokes. Why is it 10
alright.
out of 10? It's a pretty good game.
That's all right.
You played it on PS4?
10 out of 10.
The
it's fine.
Witcher 3 Wild Hunt is one of the best video games ever made.
That's what it said in the front page of GameSpot.com when I woke up this
to
morning.
quote Kevin VanOrd.
I really love this game. Oh god, it's still going. The comments are just popping up.
Don't worry about that. Tell us why.
I really, really love this game. I think it's the standard setter for all, not just like character-focused RPGs, but for open worlds in general. I think it's a little. I see like some people saying, you know, what's it like compared to Skyrim? I think it's a little unfair. Skyrim is a sandbox. Witcher 3 is not a sandbox. But I think in terms of character-focused open world RPGs. This is as good as it gets. It's special. And you're showing one of my very favorite scenes in the entire game, which has nothing to do with killing monsters, but is just sitting in a pub listening to the Trobarets sing. As a female troubadour.
I like it. I didn't know that word existed until right now.
Yeah, I didn't either until I played The Witcher 3, and then I expanded my vocabulary. Now I know both plowing and Trobarets.
I'm plowing now for what I've done. Your review is currently up on GameSpot.com, but a bunch of people sent in questions. Myself and Chris are going to lay them on you right now.
I'll do my best.
First one is from RV, that's at Harvey_X on Twitter. Newcomer here. Is it necessary to have played the previous installments to understand the overall plot of Wild Hunt?
No. I mean, obviously it helps somewhat. You already have some sense of connection with characters, and you already sort of know what happens. But not only does the game give you enough exposition so that you more or less know what's going on, but frankly, in the previous games, the politics ended up being a little bit abstract. There wasn't a whole lot of personal connection to them, and this game creates a personal connection, and I think it's much easier as a result to relate to what's going on than in any of the previous games.
So it's not just about the Nilfgaard and the land grabs?
I mean, it's got a lot of that stuff, but because you have such a personal connection with most of these things and you develop, if you don't have a pre-existing one, you develop them in the game, and as a result, it just sort of builds naturally. I don't think you need to know that stuff. As always, it helps, but...
Cool. Well, let's talk about length, VanOrd. B. Cecilia LaSalle wants to know approximately how many hours did you knock into it before writing the review, and did you find yourself skipping parts or just like sort of leaving things to the side in the interest of time?
Well, yes, in a sense. I spent about 100 hours with the game, and that involved playing bunches and bunches of side stuff. Not because I was in a hurry, though. I didn't do anything because I was hurrying. I did it because I just played the game I would ordinarily play it.
Yeah.
And I got lucky. Sunday night, I finished the story. But there is one thing to note, is that the stories have, the story quests have recommended levels. So there is going to be some stuff that you do on the side just by nature. You're going to need to do that if you want to be at the right level for the story. Overall, I'd say that I bet you most people would probably get about the same in just an ordinary playthrough. But the good news is that if you don't do all of that stuff in your first playthrough, when you finish the story, you get to go back into the world and then do whatever you want. And there's a lot of stuff out there at a much higher level. Like, I think max level might be 50
I think
or
it's 50.
something.
What was your level?
I finished at about
60.
30. I finished at about
60.
35, 36.
I think his max level is 60, but the quests level up to about 50.
Right. So there's a lot of stuff. There was stuff that was beyond my level when I finished the game.
Awesome.
And I haven't gone back simply because I want to start again. Because one of the sad news about the debug version that I played for review is no trophies.
Oh, yeah.
So I kind of want to start again and get trophies
Get that
or Steam
platinum.
achievements or whatever.
Next question is from Augustin. He asks, how much time do you play as Ciri?
I would say overall you end up playing about, 4 hours as Ciri. Most of the Ciri segments are in flashback.
Okay, let's keep it non-spoilery here.
I'm definitely keeping it non-spoilery. So most of the Ciri segments are played as a flashback.
Yeah.
And that's about it. I mean, she's not really. I mean, Geralt is the star. Most of the stuff is Ciri is just like getting a chance to know her as people remember their experiences with her. That's kind of how that's set up.
Cool.
Witcher 2 had like a pretty significant learning curve for combat and sort of prepping and whatnot. But Christopher at the Gamer Mode has never played a Witcher game and wants to know what the learning curve is like for The Witcher 3.
Not much. The Witcher 2 was infamously difficult to wrap your head around when you tried to do the combat. Like, I died so many times in the first combat scenario in The Witcher 2. The Witcher 3 is much more fluid. I think there's actually a downside in that it can get a little easy. Like if The Witcher 2 was like weirdly difficult when it starts, The Witcher 3 is actually easy enough that eventually I cranked up. There are 4 difficulty notches, and I started with the one that it defaults to, which is number 2.
Yeah.
I cranked it up to number 3. Like about a quarter of the way through because things were just a little too easy.
Yeah, you recommended that in your review.
I did. And then I feel like it hits about the right. It's still, you can still easily outlevel the story quests if you do that, if you're doing a lot of side stuff and then find the story quests kind of easy. But the thing I like about the combat is even when things get easy, you still have to exercise a certain level of tactics because like you see on the screen like a drowner. Like typically those attack in big waves, like as do wolves. So you have to be careful. You can't do necessarily the thing, like you can't hold down and spray fire because they're just going to keep interrupting you. So you do have to exercise different types of strategies.
And one of the things actually, just to get off the questions for a second, that you mentioned earlier today was that in the most difficult modes, the cooldowns or the casting times for spells
casting
changes?
time changes. I like that, when it comes to difficulty levels, it's not just about, oh, the enemies have more hit points and you have more hit points. I like the fact that some of the casting speeds change. Like, there's one sign where you can take over an enemy's mind, and at later levels you can make them fight for you.
Yeah.
But on the second difficulty mode, you basically just activate it right away. On the third, you actually have to hold it down until it takes root.
Cool.
So that's actually kind of nice. I really appreciated that.
Next question, Pope GTR asks, I played the past 2 games on PC and have now decided to switch to PS4. Will I miss anything by not uploading my old save files?
Okay, so this is interesting, actually. This is an interesting thing. Supposedly on the PC version, it looks at your save files and knows. I haven't been able to test that. The good news is that whether you play on PC or on consoles, you get a chance. There's this whole sequence where you talk to a king's advisor who asks you questions about the past. And in this scene, you get to decide what those Witcher 2 decisions are going to be like for you in The Witcher 3 moving forward. So if you don't carry over the save, then you have an opportunity. Remember how like Mass Effect, when it came to new platforms, had the whole comic thing where you could sort of decide? This is an in-game example of something like that, where it's like, so, just for the record, how did you do this thing?
So I played that, I did not play much of The Witcher 2 at all, so I played that and he was asking me the questions and I had literally no context for any of them. I was just kind of picking randomly. Was that the case when you were playing it as well?
Well, no, because I had made, when I played the PC version, I had already made those decisions, so I knew what they meant. And
you remembered them as well?
And I remembered them, yeah. So for what it's worth, those do have a meaning.
Okay.
They do have meaning in The Witcher 3. I can't say what all of the meanings are because I only played in that particular way with my decisions.
Of course.
But I am going to be putting together, for what it's worth, a little feature that shows that scene and explains what the background is for those decisions for people that are new.
So people who want to make sure Rex is alive in The Witcher 3.
Exactly. So let's say you didn't know who Rex was. Let's say it's the equivalent of that. I'm putting together a little written thing with some video explaining what the background of these choices are for people that don't know what they mean.
Excellent.
Kevin, you played this game for 100 hours,
I did.
And now you want to go back and start anew. You mentioned trophies, but are you, let's say you were playing this and you'd gotten your trophies, you'd played through 100 hours on the PS4. Is there a motivation to keep playing? Chris1337 wants to know.
Yes. One of my biggest, it's weird because on one hand, when you're a reviewer, I had about, 9 days to play this.
Yeah.
And 100 hours in 9 days, plus on top of everything else I was doing. God, that sunset. But, one of the things is, gosh, will I ever finish this? I don't play games in a different way for review than I would otherwise. Like I basically play it. I might be working a lot of hours to do it, but I don't choose different things. I don't pad it or I don't try to rush. I just play it like I would play it. And so, 100 hours seems about right. What was the question again?
Could you, after you completed it, did you feel compelled? Yeah.
But that was the second half of my regret, is I got to the end, it's like, now all I want to do is run around and do all that other stuff. I look at the map and I see a trillion question marks out there that I never got to see. But it's not really about, I make this point in the review, it's not really about marking off those things. Like, okay, I did this and I did this and I'm going to 100% this thing here and whatever. It wasn't about that. It was because I knew that there would be really cool stuff out there. Like I felt like I was really missing so many other secrets. Can I tell a little story?
Go for it,
real quick. I tell this little story in the review, but I love this bit, and this gives you an idea of what it's like. So, and spoiler free, there's a decision you make where somebody you end up uncovering a crime, and this person gets sentenced to death, and you watch her get sentenced to death. She's sentenced to starve by getting tied up on an island.
Fun.
So this is a thing that may or may not happen depending on what the things you want to do in The Witcher 3. So I watched this and then it was over, right? So hours and hours later, I'm sailing through these islands. There's you get to pilot a boat and go through
right in the Skellig.
Yeah. And so I just randomly I'm coming across this little island, and there's a body chained to like a stone or something.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what the hell is this? So I get out to look, and Geralt starts talking about God. Here's the body of so and so.
Yeah.
And like that's the kind of thing that happens. Like it wasn't scripted. The game didn't force me to go out and stare at her body.
You may never have seen it.
Yeah, I may never have seen it, but I love the fact that somebody went that extra mile. They thought to themselves,
So good.
they thought to themselves, hey, this is a thing that should happen. We're not just going to make her disappear. We're going to give you the opportunity to potentially see the consequences of what you did. And even though when I did it, I felt like it was right, and I still felt like it was justified and right. That's kind of what this world is about. Even when you do what's right,
the lesser of evils.
There's always some kind of horrific consequence. And the game didn't feed it to me. It didn't force it on me. It just allowed it to happen. And I think that's very special. It's the way choices work in The Witcher 3 in general. Is it just sort of allows them to happen. It's not parading around, oh, look, you made this choice, and we're putting them all in these little boxes so that this is the choice and this is the container where this choice lives. It's just these are just the things that happen.
We've got a couple more questions left.
Thank you for letting me
Speaking
ramble.
of horrific
good
consequences,
anecdote. Thank you.
is there any consequence to playing this game on PS4? It's Humanity, friend of the show, asks, I mainly want to know how it handled technically on the PlayStation 4, frame rate, detail, load times.
Been getting some questions about this, and so my experience, there were some bugs and some frame rate hitches and performance little things like that, and the frame rate never particularly bothered me. It drops a little bit here and there, mainly around cutscenes.
Okay.
What'll happen is a cutscene will start and it'll all jitter around, or it was rare that I was like, I was in. It doesn't really happen a lot where you're in battle and suddenly it slows down or something like that. Whenever there's action, the game maintains a really good speed for the most part on the PS4 to the point where I never thought to myself, wow, the frame rate's making this a real drag. That never happened.
Yeah.
I did run into some problems. I didn't run into what Jeff was talking about the game crashing with Gwent. I did run into 2 system crashes when I played.
In 100 hours?
In 100 hours. And I ran into, early on there's a quest, it's your very first monster contract. I did things in a peculiar order, and what happened then is when I tried to activate the final fight, it just led to a perpetual loading screen.
Oh, fun.
So that was the biggest thing I ran into, but that's because I did things in a weird order. I've already reported that bug, and hopefully that'll get fixed. Maybe it'll even be fixed for launch for all I know, I don't know. But other stuff was just little stuff. Sometimes it's, there was one place where Roach, who is your horse, started just suddenly lurching. Like, for no reason, I'm just galloping through Skellig, and suddenly he's just lurching for half a second.
Oh, yeah, you got the horse lurch.
Yeah.
You can cure that with a potion.
And, eventually I just quick traveled away and came back and everything was fine.
Right.
There are visual bugs, sometimes you quick travel and then you wait for people. Not everybody has appeared yet.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. But
I have another question for you, Kevin. Thank you for your answers.
sorry, I get off.
Angel Vidal Leva wants to know, much has been said by you, Mr. VanOrd, in florid detail about the side quests and how wonderfully they enrich the world. But let's talk about the main quest a little bit. Obviously, this is going to be a spoiler-free situation, but in terms of feeling appropriately grand and satisfying as kind of it being designated main quest connotes, was it satisfying? Did you like it?
Oh God, I very much did actually.
Better than The Witcher 2's ending?
Yes, The Witcher 2 had a terrible, terrible ending. Let's just lay it right out there. The entire third act of The Witcher 2 felt completely unfinished.
Rushed.
And I've never really gone back to any degree and gotten to the third act to see how much that's changed for updates and stuff. This is a very, very different situation. There's a lot of arc, and I won't give anything away, but there's a lead up to what seems like kind of not an ultimate battle, but it is a huge battle. And then after that, after this kind of explosive thing, there's just a lot of bubbling as you go to the finale, the actual finale. It just builds and builds and builds. And the game actually warns you before you get to that big battle that certain things are going to happen, and you should not go on until you're ready. Almost teasing you to make you think that you're going into the ending, but no. It pulls a Ni no Kuni then and says, no, actually, you thought this was the final battle? No, you got a bunch of more shit to do out there with the story. Just go.
So it's constantly, you're not really sure when it's crescendoing and when it's like...
Yeah, but I mean, it has definitely an arc. It gets to that thing, and then that's basically almost like a catalyst, and then it just rises and rises and rises after that. But one of the things I love is just that the moments that make the story what it is are huge grand gestures and small gestures too. Like I told you, like when we saw that, one of my favorite things is that Trobert's scene where she's just singing in there. It is the quietest thing. It is so beautiful. It is so romantic, and I love that the game is not afraid to have those, to have those things, comparing with each other all the time. It's just a constant tug of war between beauty and violence, all the time. That's what this world is really about, and so they really hammer that home with lots of small moments, lots of big emotions, small emotions. I loved the story a lot more than Witcher 2, which. I felt like the abstract politics weren't, I liked that story a lot, but the abstract politics weren't nearly as involving as the personal stories.
Kevin VanOrd, thank you so much for coming on and tell us all about The Witcher. One last question to get us out of here. Sam Tunnelly asks the question everyone wants to know. I want a short answer from you, sir. Just how many beard customization options are we talking about here, Kevin?
You only get to shave, and you only get 2 haircuts.
Fuck it.
So
10 out of 10.
There's only beardless or beard and the growth in between. The cool thing is that you get a shave.
It grows good?
Geralt grows his beard back.
Yeah. And it does. You can feel it.
Shave.
Yeah. And what's a 100-hour beard look like? Is it like ZZ Top?
Eventually
just go full Gandalf there.
Eventually, it just stops growing and becomes a very manly, gorgeous beard, of the you wish you'd never seen.
Like this.
No, this is neck beard. This is awful.
Par example.
This is awful. This graying neck beard is.
Hey man, I'm talking about grays. I'll be doing casting aspersions on grays.
Yeah, I'm old. I'm easily the oldest person in this office.
Oh, Kevin, and yet you can still talk with the best of them.
Imagine that.
Listening to you talk about this game, I'm squirming with anticipation for next week.
You sure you don't just need to pee?
I may also, but I don't divulge that information on internet.
Oh, I do.
All right, well, that's our
Chris
show
needs to
for
pee.
the week. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in and watching the lobby. Thank you, Kevin VanOrd.
My pleasure.
Thank you, Chris Waters.
Yep.
Thank you for watching. Thanks
Thank
to
you,
everyone in
Danny.
the back. Mary, Josh, Ty, Eric Tay, Dan Mahork, the whole guy.
The
Need to put a
Battleship
microphone in
Potemkin.
there for them. The Battleship Potemkin. Shout out to Ghanaian filmmakers around the world. We'll be back next week.
Andy Garcia.
What video games are out next week? Oh, it's the fucking Witcher. You guys won't be watching because you'll be playing anyway. We'll be back next week for the lobby, which will probably be talking about The Witcher a hell of a bunch more. In the meantime, GameSpot.com is where our review is and a bunch more stuff about that, Project Cars, and all the other games we were talking about on today's show. Take care, and we'll see you guys next week. Adios!